Okay, let's have a look here. What does it say? Okay, this is 5 facts about death. Hebrews 9:27. That it is appointed for men to once to die, and after this the judgment, which tells us 5 facts. Okay, about that. Unless the second coming of Jesus Christ occurs in your lifetime, you personally cannot be accepted from death. In all of human history, the Bible tells us of only 2 exceptions. One was Enoch, Genesis 5:23-24. The other was Elijah, 2 Kings 2:1-11. Compare John 21:17-23. Okay, this is in the Americanized English Bible versions. Okay, in the original Lishana Atika Sapreya of the original Assyrian Aramaic, from the Kitab Eshret, the sacred scribal old tongue of the Old Testament prophets, etc. Here in Genesis 5:23-24, it doesn't actually say that about Enoch, that he walked with God, God was pleased with him, and he took him up in a fiery chariot and he lived forever. It doesn't say that. It just talks about how long he lived, supposedly lived for, and that he was righteous. That's it. It may have some further details on it in this verse. We could look at that and verify that Enoch lived forever might be incorrect, a bad translation, but we have read or touched on something about Elijah, that he was taken up, etc., etc. Okay, need some more information here on this. Okay, it's quite extensive. Conclusion: it is appointed for men once to die, and after this judgment, death is appointed, and you are no exception. Everybody's going to die, right? You only die once. Oh, some people, they have near-death experiences, whatever, but in reality you only die once, full death, right? And death is not the end, it is your destiny's door to eternal life or eternal banishment, punishment, whatever, right? Okay, according to the scriptures. Okay, so we're going to look at this one, the distinction, but okay, that's about hell and fire. Okay, so I think it was Hebrews 9. Uh, 27, something like that. Okay, I'm sure it's 9:5 or something like that, not too sure. 25, 27. Oh, here we go. And whereas, this is 9:27. And whereas he, Christ, consecrated for human beings to die one season, or once, and after their death one judgment. Likewise also the Messiah, or Jesus the Christ, offered himself one season through his human essence. He has obliterated the sins of many, so as in the second season, those who held on to him would see themselves alive without their sins. It's talking about the resurrection to life, right? Just Gospel of Matthew. Okay. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all his holy angels with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his glory, and there will gather before him all the nations, and he will choose them one by one, like the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats, and he sets the sheep from his right and goats from his left. That is when the king says to those from his right, "Come, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom that was destined for you from the foundations of the universe," etc., etc., because he did all these deeds as well here, listed here. And then he will say also to those on his left, "Go away from me, you accursed, to eternal life, that is set for the devil and his angels." Okay, because they rejected him basically. and they will go to eternal torment, and the saintly to eternal life. There's a footnote here. Literal Aramaic idiom, to the universe. So they go into the universe, okay, either to exist in eternal torment or to a saintly eternal life. Okay, John 5:27, and this is from the translator's own mouth, and you might hear strange language. He's reading all out in the supposed original Galilean Aramaic or Ninevite Aramaic, etc., etc.
So as there is life everlasting through His Trinity. So this explains how the Father gives the Trinity to His Son. 27. وَأَشْلِطَ دِنِهْوِ عَابِدْ أَبْدَيْنَا. And He authorizes him to even do judgment. دِبَرِهَا دِن نَاشَ. Even as He is the Son of Man. دِبَرِهَا دِن نَاشَ. In other words, even though He is of the flesh, even though He is the Son of a human being, or that He is in human form. 28. لا تدمرون بهذا بأتي شخصا. Do not be amazed by this when the hour comes. إمتي تشلون ألين دبقورة إنون نشمعون قاله. When all those people who are in the grave shall hear His voice. ونبقون, and they shall emerge. أيلين دعودو طواث وقيمة الخي. Those who did the good deeds to rise to the everlasting life. Tchayi, in plural, signifies everlasting life. وأيلين دعودو بشتا القيامة دينا. And those who did evil in being subject to judgment, or stand to be condemned. القيامة دينا. 30. لا مشتخلنا من صابود نفسي مدن لمعود. I cannot of my own free will do anything. إلا إن كانت شمعنا دعنا. Except as I hear, I shall judge. وديني شائنوا. And my judgment is just. لا جير بعنا صبياني. Udyani cha'inwa, and my judgment is righteous. Lajir ba'anwa suryani, for it was not my own will that I wished. Illa suryan b'man shadarni, except the will of the one who sent me. 31.
Okay, so that's from the translator Victor in Alexander's mouth, speaking the Aramaic. Okay, what else have we got here? Reading interpretation by Vicar Alexander from the ancient Aramaic scriptures, John 3:16. Okay, where are we here? Okay, we'll start at 13. No human being goes up to heaven except the one who comes down from heaven, the Son of Man who was in heaven. And just as Moses lifted the darkness by the light of life, this is how you should glorify the Son of Man, so that every human being who believes in Him does not go to oblivion, except that they may have life everlasting. For this is how much Allaha, or God in the Aramaic, loved humanity, that He gave forth His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him does not perish or go to oblivion, except that they may have life eternal. For Allaha, or God, did not send His Son, Yahushua Mashiach, which is the Messiah, to the world, into the world to condemn people, except that people shall live by His hand. Whoever believes in Him is not condemned, and whoever does not believe has already been condemned long ago. Whoever does not believe in the name of the only begotten Son of Allaha, or God. For this is the judgment, that the light came to the people, and the people loved the darkness more than the light, for they only wanted to do evil things. For whoever does hateful things hates the light, and does not come to the light, so as not to be reprimanded for their doings. The one who does good things comes to the light, so as to make known his doings to Allaha, or God, to make known that by Allah's or God's will they are done. And here's the footnotes on 3:16. Go to oblivion, or perish. Okay, and what does oblivion or perish mean? We need to define it. We are going to look at that. Oblivion, the condition or quality of being completely forgotten. The act or an instance of forgetting, total forgetfulness. Okay. Official overlooking of offences, amnesty. Here's some more definitions here. The fact or condition of not remembering, perhaps not being remembered. A state marked by a lack of awareness or consciousness. A state of being completely forgotten or unknown. The condition or quality of being completely forgotten, etc. So what is perish? When it's defined, to die or be destroyed, especially in a violent or untimely manner. To pass from existence, disappear gradually, to spoil or deteriorate. To become destroyed or ruined, cease to exist. Okay. To die or be destroyed through violence, privation, to perish, etc., etc. Pass from physical life and lose all bodily attributes and functions necessary to sustain life. Be destroyed, exterminated. Okay, that's what the Bible meaning of perish is. Biblical references of the word perish. Hebrew abad definition, perish, be destroyed. Hebrew shamad definition, be destroyed, exterminated. Defile, destroy, exterminate. Hefil, Greek polumi, etc. To be lost, ruined, destroyed. Genesis 41:36. Okay. Basically it's saying, okay, here they're saying we cannot assume that perish means that consciousness will cease. The Bible speaks of unbelievers as being dead, Ephesians 2:1, John 5:24. Yet they are certainly conscious. Since the Bible uses the word dead in such a metaphorical way, it also may use the word perish in a metaphorical way, especially when it is talking about the age to come and afterlife of which we have no experience, and so forth. Each has different meanings. Okay, but according to the ancient Aramaic that we looked at, you go to oblivion, non-existence. You're ignored, maybe you're thrown out into the universe as a punishment, and you're completely ignored as if you're not there. Or you've gone to non-existence. Okay, if God's a God of love, etc., and doesn't like to punish his creations, well then perhaps it's, in a sense, the end of you for all eternity. Okay, or you're out there in the darkness, forgotten, right, and you're gnawing your teeth, etc., because you can see what's going on in the kingdom of heaven, and you're stuffed up. Maybe it's something like that. But in that concept, we believe it means you're non-existent. Okay, because you have eternal life, you live on forever with God, with Christ. But the opposite would be you are eternally non-existent. Okay, here's another reading here. Okay, we're going to push the button so you can hear what he has to say.
So that every human being who believes in him does not go to oblivion, except that they may have life everlasting. For this is how much Allah loved humanity, that he gave forth his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him does not perish, except that they may have life everlasting. This is the famous verse 16, chapter 3, and everlasting life and eternal life, these are all written as life, khayr, in the plural, lives, and it refers to life, eternal life, and life to the end of the universe, khayr al-alam, life to the end of the universe, and sometimes Khayl Alam Al-Min, life to the end of the universe, of all the universes. It's much more profound than just saying everlasting life, forever, and things like that. So the ancient Aramaic is much, much more profound and deeper meaning. 17. For Allah did not send His Son to the world to condemn people, except that people should live by His hand. Whoever believes in Him is not condemned, and whoever does not believe has already been condemned long ago. Whoever does not believe in the name of the only begotten Son of Allaha. For this is the judgment, that the light came to the people, and the people loved the darkness more than the light, for they only wanted to do evil things. For whoever does hateful things hates the light, and does not come to the light, so as not to be reprimanded for their doings. The one who does good things comes to the light, so as to make known his doings to Allah, to make known that by Allah's will they are done. After Isha taught these things, he came to Judea, where he visited with the people there, and baptized. John was also baptizing at Aenon, near Salim, for the waters were plentiful there, and they came and were baptized, because John was still not thrown in prison. 25. There arose a question between one of the disciples of John and a Jew over ceremonial washing. And they came to John and said to him, Rabbi, the one who was with you at the crossing of the Jordan River, of whom you testified, behold, he is also baptizing, and many are coming to him. John replied and said to them, No human being can of his own will receive anything, unless it comes to him from heaven. You are my witnesses that I said, I am not the anointed one, I am not the Mashiach, except the apostle before him. Whoever has a bride is the bridegroom. His best man, who stands at attention, is overjoyed as he hears the voice of the bridegroom calling to him. To him it was destined to be great, to me to be little, because the one who comes from above is above all, and the one who comes from the earth is from the earth and preaches from the earth.